Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hypnos channel. I'm here with another one of my best friends, Jake, and we are here to talk all things the economy, the financial markets. It's affected everyone, not just in the US. So I'm really excited to kind of dive in and just discuss a lot of cool topics that have had some not cool things happen to them, which has been really unfortunate. Jake, do you want to just take a minute, introduce yourself? Introduce how you kind of got into the economy, financial, crypto, NFT space, and what you think about what's happening right now.
Yeah, totally. So first of all, everyone, Luke, thank you so much for bringing me on here. I'm really excited. I've been watching this channel for a while and, just excited to talk about what's going on. So I got into the economy and just the stock market and crypto markets in general over like the beginning of the COVID pandemic. I was just online a lot, started reading into it, doing more research. And then at my school, I just started with a few of my good friends, a club on investing. So that's kind of been the main path. And I know it's been taking up a lot of my time recently. It's super interesting. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I think in COVID, like you have so much time, you can really get into some new hobbies. I got into like sports cards and stuff like that. So um, definitely you're able to do a lot of cool things. Jake, there's been a recession. It's been happening for a little bit of time. It's got people with the pitchforks out, very angry. Everything's taken a tumble. What are some of the big reasons for this economic recession?
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone will point to you in different ways, say that, oh, it's just a little bit of a down dip. We'll be back in a few weeks. There's a bunch of different information out there that's telling you what's going on. But some of the stuff that I think is largely impacting this recession would be the inflation rates, high levels of household debt, and then just overall fear in the market. After what happened in COVID and, with two different eras, two different presidents, with Donald Trump and president, the economy soared. And coming out of COVID, these extremely high inflation rates and debt because of what happened with Donald Trump and president, it's really changing things around. The economy is just going into a downturn, into a recession. If we look at the household debt numbers, those are some of the most interesting numbers for me. From 2019, the household debt has jumped $1.7 trillion to like, I think it's 15 or maybe like 14.8 in total right now. And that's a huge number, especially at the rate it's going. If the rates, somewhat contained, that makes sense. But it jumped to 1.7% this year so far. And that's a huge number. It's, really contributing because as the debt goes up, more money leaves people's pockets, there's more to spend, and then it all kind of collapses in on itself. Same with inflation rates. We've had a decade of around, 1 to like 3% of inflation rates, which, means there's a lot more money in the market. But because people can pull out money more, sorry. But, in the last like year or so, inflation's hitting like 8.5, 8.6%, or it's, getting there. And that's a huge difference. That's, causing a lot of drawback. People aren't taking money out as more. And overall, there has to be, the banks are kind of correcting what's going on in the stock market, being, growing so much, there has to be a correction period, has to be a recession period. The inflation rates are doing so. And it's, it's very hard on the economy, but it's somewhat necessary for everything to correct.
Yeah. So basically, for just like a short summary on inflation, right? It just means that your like wages and the money you make will take you less far. There's a decrease in everything that like is standard. There's a decrease in prices and goods. Everything becomes more expensive. Like a great example is gas. So like gas will go up a bunch. And it just means like what you make at your job won't take you as far when inflation is higher. So
Yep.
like Jake said, inflation is a great example of why the economy is definitely going down. So we're in a recession. I think like everyone can agree we're in this recession. Jake, you mentioned it a little bit before. Is this a blip or should we expect more of a downward trend in the next, let's say 6 to 12 months?
I do expect more of a downward trend. I don't think until the inflation rates really settle, that's probably the biggest factor. And the Fed decides to, change those, the inflation rates return back to like normal values, like growth values, like 1 to 3%, 1 to 2%. Then no, I don't really see any change in the direction that we're going in for a while, at least.
And the main part is like the stock market is going down, but if we kind of jump ahead a little bit, the stock market going down affects everything, right? It affects crypto and NFTs and all kinds of stuff. So Jake, I know like you're experienced in the crypto market. Crypto and NFTs have both taken a big tumble. But before we kind of discuss that tumble, do you want to jump into what is crypto for the people who don't know? What is cryptocurrency?
Yeah, so cryptocurrency is essentially just another form of, US currency or any other type of currency in the world. It just kind of takes a digital, less centralized aspect to it. Like our US currency comes from the Fed and the US government. This is more decentralized, meaning it's not controlled by one entity. And there are a lot of different applications of that because it's not controlled by one entity, but that's kind of the most simple way of describing it, I'd say.
And I think that good job describing it, by the way. And I think the main thing a lot of people are talking about is a good selling point on crypto. You can correct me if I'm wrong, is that if the stock market changed because it wasn't like dependent on anything, crypto would stay solid. How has that like kind of ideology been a little bit flawed? And like, was that like a statement crypto people would do to try to sell other people on crypto?
I think that was one of the largest statements that people would say. It's like, gold, like what happens to the stock market, you always have a piece of gold. No, that's definitely not what happened. Unfortunately, crypto really went with the stock market, even like took volatility on the stock market and just made it even worse. So the stock market went down a little bit, crypto market would, drastically decrease. And I think that's because people are still trying to find applications of crypto, like what really can crypto do that's better than anything else? What really are these tangible applications that I can, tell to anyone and people understand that? And because I don't really think there are that many huge applications yet. Yeah, there are some like a store of money, like lots of different things. NFTs, talk about that later. It really just became the stock market with a little bit of volatility for those bigger cryptos at least. And so when we started going into recession, people, that same fear that was in the stock market was the same in the crypto market, and money started pouring out, created this cycle. And I kind of vision it as a house of cards. Crypto market's been building a house of cards for a while, but at the end of the day, there isn't really that strong of a foundation. And when that foundation has been exposed in the last, 6 or so months, the entire house of cards came in and imploded on itself. So that's kind of the main idea there.
For sure. I think crypto, like the biggest kind of use of it, it's a digital thing. Like you don't have like crypto, which makes it hard for people to understand. Like its biggest use is to verify transactions and do kind of stuff like that. So like you said, finding other applications of it is like very important. If we use your house of cards analogy here, Bitcoin would be the ace of hearts, right? It's the most well-known cryptocurrency. It is everything. Like, I want to get into how did Bitcoin become so popular, and why has that caused it to fall the most?
Definitely. There's a saying, you either are the first or you are the best. And Bitcoin was the first. It really, in 2008, when Bitcoin was made, it really revolutionized things. And people are like, wow, there's this whole new digital landscape, whole new digital environment. And Bitcoin really, took the charge there. It was the cryptocurrency that if anyone could talk about, Bitcoin. So that's why it grew, and that's why it became the number one cryptocurrency in the world, which it still is, even in the downturn. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin itself is actually really bad. The only thing I'm going to talk about, like the application of Bitcoin for a second, as in, if you think about, global warming and environmental aspects when thinking about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is actually the most destructive to the environment of all cryptocurrencies in the world. One Bitcoin full transaction can power a US household for around, I think it's like 68 days or 72 days. I forget which one. And there are 300,000 plus transactions occurring every day. So Bitcoin is taking up a huge energy output. And, people have this argument, oh, if that energy output was made by clean energy, with hydro farms or solar power or geothermic, whatever it is, then it'd be okay. But when most of this Bitcoin mining and transactions that take up so much energy is, being harvested with fossil fuels, natural gases, it really is a really bad, it's really bad for the environment. And that's, some of what the detractors of Bitcoin, including myself, will, say it's not that good. The only reason why it has so much value is because it was first, and hopefully, as time moves along, it will no longer be that way. But as to why it's fallen so much, when you're at the top, when everything follows, I think it would fall the most. I don't really know. The entire market's been down in the last, I think, 6 months. $2 trillion of digital currency in crypto has been wiped out, like gone from people's balance sheets. And Bitcoin, I think, definitely plays a big part of that. I think it's like 600 billion of that 2 trillion in Bitcoin has been wiped out.
Yeah, for sure. Bitcoin hit highs of 65,000 in November 12th was actually its high, and now it's at 20,000. And it's still expected to go down even more. It went down 3% today, actually. Fun fact. But another thing, like, I think goes unnoticed, I have no question, this is just me talking, but like 2 years ago, you look at 2019, it was like 3,000. So if you look in the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin is up a bajillion amount, but the recession kind of like dwarfs that. If we dive into some more, if we're discussing things that have gone down a lot, have burned, have become worthless, Jake, do you want to talk a little bit about crypto in the Luna, like what Luna is, and then the UST, and kind of just describe that for your viewers? Because when he described it to me, I did not know what it was, but then he described it very well. So do you want to do that same thing for my viewers, Jake?
Yeah, totally. So that's another big part of why crypto's, taking this massive recession, is there are these things called stable coins in the crypto market. And that's essentially, if you're a crypto investor and you don't want to put your money into, the US dollar because of inflation or because you just don't like it, whatever reason there is, you can put your money into stable coins. And one of the biggest stable coins was called UST, or Terra Luna. And it was really interesting because Terra Luna was comprised of two different coins. You had UST, sorry, and then you had Luna, two different coins here. And how they worked is there was this algorithm and the idea was keeping UST at $1. So it's pretty equivalent to the US dollar. If UST went above $1, people would sell it and convert it into Luna, or the algorithm would do so. And if UST went below $1, then people would buy back UST using Luna. And they kind of had this interchanging conversion system, an algorithm that kept UST at $1 as long as Luna had value. So what happened is a very wealthy individual, some people think it was the hedge fund Citadel, had a lot of money. I think it was, I'm not exactly sure how much. I think it was either, I don't know if it was the millions or billions. It was a very large sum of money.
A healthy amount.
Very healthy amount. I think it was millions, yeah. And dumped it all, had the money in UST and dumped it all, sold all of it. And because it was such a large transaction, the algorithms could not work together in order to stabilize UST back to $1. So when that happened, UST fell to like, I think it was 94 cents. And that's huge because it's usually at, 99.7 or 101.01, whatever. It's supposed to be around $1. And that fall caused a lot of panic in the market. And Luna, because of that, dropped, I think, 30% in value like that, super quickly. Then, people started selling. People are like freaking out. Is this the end of stablecoin? Is this the end of Luna? and more people took their money out of UST and out of Luna. But remember, we got to think about this, algorithm that they have here. When they do this, they try and, use conversion rates between the two, the stablecoin USD and Luna, to bring UST back to $1. As they do this, Luna itself keeps dropping value to try and bring UST up. Luna goes from, I think it was at $108 when this happened, to 60, to 30, to 6, to 2 cents. And so much money is just being lost because more and more people are selling, adding to this cycle. It becomes a cycle. More selling, more conversion, Luna drops, more selling, right? And then to add on to this, there's this hedge fund called Three Arrows Capital. It's a crypto hedge fund, and they have a very large position in USD, the stablecoin, and they also have a lot of money in Bitcoin. And what they do is they sell $200 million worth of Bitcoin and they buy it back into USD to try and, revitalize it, to try and bring the price back up. This is very significant because when that happened, the Bitcoin crypto fell a few percentages and people started freaking out more as the entire crypto market was now being impacted, not just USD, not just Luna. It added to the cycle. Luna then dropped even more, UST dropped even more. And at the end of the day, Luna went to 0.0000 like 4 cents, completely destroyed. And at its peak, Luna was worth $42 billion, the market cap, the entire thing. And all of that money just got taken out, vanished. It's crazy. That was one of the biggest parts of the crypto recession that added along to the economic downturn. And since then, everything has been down. As well as inflation rates and impact the market itself.
Yeah, for sure. I also want to clarify, when we're talking about when things drop a few percentage points, that's hundreds of millions of dollars in a lot of these cases. So 10% is a ton, 5% is a ton. Like Jake said, the crypto market is just very volatile. Bitcoin is down just a bunch along with multiple reasons, but like Jake said, Luna definitely, especially another reason. Jake, if we get into another kind of currency, collectible, whatever you want to call it, another aspect of the economic market that has definitely shown it has staying power, but is also in a bear market, it's in a recession, is NFTs. So like many, I would say I scoffed at the idea that NFTs would matter in the world. And if you did that originally, right now you're being proven correct. Whether we don't even have to look, it could go up, it could go down. But right now, if you didn't believe NFTs had staying power, you are correct. However, I've done my own research and I hope to one day buy an NFT. But before we kind of get into everything, Jake, do you want to kind of talk about what non-fungible tokens are, what NFTs really are?
Yeah, so that's an aspect of the cryptocurrency, in this digital world that, the world is transitioning in, that's taking up a lot of airtime, and it's NFTs. And NFTs are essentially the non-fungible tokens. They're these tokens, they can be images, they can be a song, they can be whatever you want it to be in the digital world online, that has its own unique signature. So if I, get an NFT of, this hat, for example, right? I will have a unique signature, a unique token description that's pretty long that addresses this hat. So, I can take a screenshot of it, Lou can take a screenshot of it, and you can take a screenshot of it. But the original one will be the one with that token. And that is how, things get protected. That's how they are non-fungible. So you can create, additions, you can create screenshots, but they're non-fungible, and therefore they're tokens, they have addresses, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I think in my own research, the main argument you get from people is the JPEG issue. They're like, why can't I just take a screenshot of it? And I heard a really great analogy from someone when I was doing my research, but basically, if you go to France and you look at the Mona Lisa and you take a photo of the Mona Lisa is not yours, right? You can take photos of Jake's NFTs, but it's still his NFT. So I think that's a major concern people have. And it's kind of nice to put it into like simpler terms. Like you can take a photo of someone's house. It is not your house. It's still their house. Another thing I kind of want to talk about why NFTs are important is we can go down a spiral, but basically the blockchain is like very essential. The kind of algorithm behind what creates NFTs will stay here for a long time. And I think if you're wondering why NFTs could go back up, I think a good example is like NFTs can allow you access into a lot of things. So I think there's a good chance sports tickets don't exist anymore. And like simply you have to like buy an NFT to go to a baseball game or something like that. There's a lot of uses you can have in NFTs. A major thing people like is like if you buy an NFT, it'll get you access to another digital world, or it'll get you access to like a video game world. So Jake, do you want to kind of talk about why NFTs maybe are here to stay even in a recession, like what their potential uses could be?
Yeah, definitely. So at the current moment, I've done a bunch of research in NFTs and law, and the only main, application I've seen is basically what Luke said. It's access to different things. The biggest, one of the largest NFTs in the world, the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I think it's the largest. No, it's the second largest crypto in the world, or sorry, NFT in the world.
It's massive.
Yeah, it's huge. Worth a ton of money. When you own one of these Bored Apes, it's a really cool picture. When you own one of these, you get invitation to a few like elite owner events, and those are really cool connection building places. Those are, very interesting people there. A lot of different things, but that's kind of the main application that we're seeing as of now. There's a lot of different messages that people try doing in NFTs. Like if I create an NFT collection that focuses on global warming, and I have like a bunch of different animals related that are like endangered because of global warming, and then I put 50% of my profit from that into global warming. There's a bunch of those that have messages and have meaning that give money to different things with their NFT collection, but they don't really have as much application yet. The real application that we're seeing here is just access to like different events, and that's kind of the only thing at the current moment, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it shouldn't be overlooked how valuable that access is. I mean, at these Bored Ape Yacht Club meetings, I mean, you could see like just whales in every market, economic, athletic, apparel, like freaking everything. There's just gonna be massive whales. The connection you make, the amount of people you meet will just be invaluable. I mean, just for some like reference, if we use Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, its peak was around 150 ETH, and it's now down to 97 ETH, like its floor price. So the cheapest NFT is worth 97 ETH, which I like to use 1,000. ETH isn't always at 1,000.
Yeah.
It's tough to explain. So Jake, do you want to talk about ETH real quick?
Yeah, sure. So Ethereum's, and it's another cryptocurrency. It's like Bitcoin. This one, it's okay environmentally. It's not as bad. It's okay. And at the current moment, it's worth around $1,000. So when Luke says 97 ETH is the floor price for an NFT, that means you can get one for $97,000, which is a ton of money.
Yes.
The peak, which was 150 Ethereum, that's when Ethereum was worth around like, I think 4,000, maybe $3,500. So that's like $600,000 for a Bored Ape Yacht Club for, digital image, which is
let me jump in real quick. Like you think 150 and then 100, you're like, oh, it only dropped 33%. But like Jake said, because Ethereum dropped, it really dropped like 80%, honestly. Like it's crazy. So it's not a 30% decrease. It's like an 80% decrease. All right, go back ahead, Jake.
But people have like the idea like, oh, I can get it for Ethereum being $4,000 for 150 ETH now, 600 grand, because in 5 years, when Ethereum is worth $10,000 and a Bored Ape Yacht Club is worth 200, that's $2 million. That's one of the big, I don't know.
Yeah. Arguments.
Yeah. Arguments for Ethereum and NFTs. And sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah. I think another thing, like now that we're talking about NFTs, I think we need to make another episode like solely focused on NFTs, not the overall market. Yeah, I've had a good time talking, but like I wanted to bring attention, like the floor price. I can't say it. I don't know why, but the floor price, the floor, which means the cheapest NFT. Like the floor is the cheapest NFT was 150 ETH. And like Jack said, if we just use crude numbers, let's tack on 4,000 per ETH. That's like 600,000, which is more than half a mil for the floor Bored Ape. And at the peak of the NFT market, people were buying the most rare NFTs, which were going for way more than half a million.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I kind of think NFTs just have a staying power. Their digital access to all kinds of things is really valuable, but I think they have staying power just because of how intrigued everyone was by it and how invested people really were into the NFT marketplace. So Jake, if you're looking at NFTs, we fast forward 3 years. Are they the whole market? Is the market up or down?
Oh, sorry, I forgot real quick. I forgot one other application. It's kind of like a social, like stamp. You know, if I have an NFT of a Bored Ape Yacht Club, people are like, "Oh, he has an NFT of a Bored Ape Yacht Club." I put
that is very important. Like,
put on my socials. People are like, "He has it." You know, that's another really big.
It's like wearing Yeezys. You know, like,
yeah, exactly.
You know how Yeezys were really big because of like the social stamp they were, and how Kanye made them huge. It's like that. When your profile pic is a Bored Ape Yacht Club, I mean, you're pretty cool. Like, you're doing all right. But yeah,
doing okay with yourself. Sorry, where do you think 3 years?
We fast forward 3 years. NFT market, the whole market, up or down?
I definitely think it'll be up by 2025. And if crypto, some aspects of it are not here to stay. A lot of it needs to be changed. There will be up and down. I think the NFT market will definitely return and will definitely conquer. There's a lot of, interesting utility that's yet to be discovered, and a lot of interesting projects. It's definitely the number one art place in the world right now. And as we come out of this recession, it will continue to grow. And as more people, this is one of the biggest things that I say, at least, as more people move online, as our generation moves online, NFTs will continue to grow and all digital things will continue to grow. So I definitely think it'll be up.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about with NFTs, but I wanted to say, like, if you're me or Jake, if you're a kid in this generation, one of my favorite creators, like Gary Vee, talks about this a lot. Like, a Jackson Pollock painting doesn't mean anything to us. Like, it's just not meaningful to us. Like, a Jackson Pollock painting, for those of you who don't know, is insanely valuable. Like, a great painter. It's like,
I don't even know Jackson Pollock.
Yeah. A great painting from a deceased painter doesn't mean anything to me, but a Bored Ape Yacht Club, like, whatever the reason, a Bored Ape in like a 6x6 frame means a lot to me. So I think that's, like Jake said, that's something that will give NFTs staying power, is just its brand in the youth generation is so much more prevalent than so many other things, and digital art is becoming more important than real art. So I think, like Jake said, in 2025, I think even 2024, or like you give this 12 to 18 months, I think NFTs will come back. But one important thing is, like, 95% of the projects won't come back.
That's also very true.
You gotta find the 5% of projects that come back. So when I say like the 95% of projects won't come back, Jake, do you want to kind of talk about what projects are, and then how some projects are just like a waste of time, like they're just photos people put up?
Yeah, it's like the .com era. Everything in the .com era, everyone in the .com era put .com at the end of their company, and like it'd be huge, and there'd be so much public talk about it. But at the end of the day, after that recession, there are only like a few companies that came out of it, and thousands disappeared like that. It's the same with NFTs. Not that many will have that. Not that many of them will have actual value. 95% of these projects that come out will not really mean anything, and they'll just be there. They'll gain a lot of like public image, but at the end of the day, when the dust settles, they really will not stand out and they'll disappear. There's 5% of projects that do. Bored Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks, I can only think of two. Cool Cats,
Like Meebips,
Meebips,
Doodles.
ton of
What's
them.
the owl? What's the owl one?
Oh, that one was huge.
Yeah. There's a bunch of
Yeah. Adidas and Nike sponsored one, Azuki. So like projects like that really stand out. Those are the ones that you want to get into, because as time goes on, they will like be the best, and they will, they'll appreciate greatly.
Yeah, I think a really interesting argument is if you believe the NFT market will come back. I mean, a $600,000 Bored Ape to 100,000. If you have that kind of capital and you buy it, that's $500,000 you make in, depending on your estimates, let's say 3 years. That's insane return. I think if you hit the correct one, and I think it's already kind of established that Bored Apes will be here to stay. Obviously, things can happen. Who knows? Maybe Bored Apes dies out. I think it would be like very, very rare for Bored Apes to kind of die out, but in like CryptoPunks and all kinds of stuff. If you don't know NFTs, it's tough to describe like what these projects are, but yeah.
I don't think it will, because Yuga Labs, the people that create Bored Ape, and they bought CryptoPunks as well. They got like from Google Ventures and from like a few big investing firms. They got a valuation of like $4 billion. So there's a lot of money from outside the digital world that is pumping into this company and into NFT companies to like make it stay. So that's another good reason to stay with it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just so interesting. And I think like it really is definitely like our .com era. And it's super cool to be a part of, which is why I want to buy my first NFT. I don't know what to buy. I want to buy like a VeeFriends.
That'd be great.
Like a
VeeFriends are
VeeFriends.
expensive though.
Yeah, they are. But they took a big plunge too because of ETH. So I could swing it. It's like 0.5 ETH for a floor VeeFriends. But yeah. So I think another interesting aspect I want to talk about is, like I mentioned, one of my favorite creators is Gary Vee. And Gary Vee comes out and he has an NFT project, which is really cool for me because I like Gary Vee a lot. So I want to be a part of his NFT project. So like, if you really like a creator, I think we could see rappers or artists like Logan Paul has been very big. He's created his own NFT project. What kind of like, what that can help the NFT market in a lot of ways when your like favorite celebrity creates an NFT project. Jake, do you want to like talk about that, how it can help you?
Yeah, definitely. So what people are looking at now is, because in the beginning, everyone was just trying to be first. Everyone was just trying to put out NFT projects, collections, whatever. Now what people are looking for is two things: utility, like does this NFT project have value? Is it important? What does it do? And uniqueness. And this is where like the celebrity part actually like does a bit of both. It's very unique. It's a celebrity, centered project, and they have a bit of utility because it's relating back to that celebrity. And, with time, it will not like go away, hypothetically. So Logan Paul, Gary Vee, they were definitely at the front of this. They built some NFT collections, and Logan Paul's one, for example, he was very smart with it. He took 100 photos in 100 days, and I think he sold them day by day, like one a day, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like relating to his life. And if you think about Logan Paul, he's got like 30 or 20 million subscribers. So that's just 100 super fans out of that 20 million. There'll definitely be a bunch that will pay for those. And even just, someone else will too. And they went for, I think, a ton of money per purchase. I think it was like 40,000 plus.
Yeah, easily, I think. I mean,
yeah, a few went for like a few 100,000. I don't really know. But VeeFriends also is a big one. And especially as the market's down, Luke, I think that could be That could be a good opportunity.
Yeah, I would get like a VFriends Series 2 because it's like way cheaper. Yeah, so there's all kinds of cool stuff like with NFTs. Like you can be a part of your favorite creator. You can
Mhm.
get a new profile page. There's just a good like there's not a ton of applications of NFTs. Like don't get us wrong, but the few that are like they have major staying power, which is
Mhm.
why it's like so intriguing and stuff. And another cool thing I think about NFTs is like it mirrors the stock market, which is like a bad thing right now because it's all going down. But in NFTs, there's still like some fun stuff. So like a really fun project is Goblin Town. So basically, if you know what happened to the stock market, like with GameStop. So Jake, do you want to kind of talk about that GameStop run last
Oh, sure.
summer, and then I can kind of talk about like what's happened
Yeah,
with Goblin Town? Yeah.
definitely. So essentially GameStop was trading around $3 or less a share. And it was just turning out to be a bad company. People, as we've said, are going online. And I don't need to go in store and buy games anymore. I can just, open up Steam, open up Google and search, download NBA 2K and boom, right there.
Yeah.
So people don't want to go to GameStop. GameStop doesn't really have as much value anymore. And so it's trading downward as it should. It's a dying company, right?
It
So
stinks.
it stinks.
Yeah.
There are these big there are these big hedge funds that are like, oh, I know GameStop's going down. So what am I going to do? I'm going to short it, which means I make money if it goes down. And they put a ton of money into a short, so much money into a short that if retail investors, if some people decide to buy a lot of GameStop for literally no apparent reason, um, it'll force the stock to go up because those short positions need to buy back covers. It's a long process. It's hard to explain. Um, but a few, I think 100,000 people decided to start buying GameStop, and more hype got involved into it. It went from $3 to 14 to 65 to 340 to like 400 at its peak. And they kind of blew up just because of hype and good opportunity, I guess.
And I think like what was really cool is like you and like our other friend were able to like buy in, and it was like this kind of young wave where it was like you were able to kind of like stick it to the hedge funds to
Yeah.
some aspect. Like you can mess with the hedge funds, and that's like something that's really cool that happened in the NFT space.
Mm-hmm.
There's this NFT called Goblin Town, and it's like the most disgusting pictures of goblins ever. Like it's absolutely putrid pictures, and like everyone dubbed it horrible. Like NFT analysts and like people on Twitter were like, this is a horrible project, like stay away, like this sucks. And then like people were like, well, like screw everyone who thinks it's horrible. Like let's just buy a bunch as a joke. And then now it's at like 3 ETH when like a bunch of other well-respected projects have tumbled down to nothing. And so that's what I think is like promising about the NFT market is like it mirrors a lot of the other economic markets, which will always like stay. Like the stock market will always be around. People will always invest in the stock market
Yep.
because it like without getting into it, like if you leave money in the stock market and forget about it, like if you put it in there, it'll grow. It's just the way it is. So I think that's what was like something that was also cool in the NFT space is that like it mirrors the stock market a lot. A lot of people just have fun with it.
Yep.
And it's super cool. Yeah. So I think yeah, go ahead.
In the last 24 hours, Goblin Town's like done at least $300,000. Like people putting money into it, which is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. It like people just, it's just another cool thing where like people just pump it
Mhm.
because everyone said like it wouldn't, like because
Yeah.
they said it wouldn't. So if we're kind of like winding down here a little bit, Jake, um, we talked about NFTs, we talked about cryptocurrency, we discussed like how we both think NFTs are here to stay. Do you want to kind of talk about some of your like NFT purchase, what your NFT purchases were when you bought an NFT, and like maybe get into like gas fees a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So that's actually, Luke brought up something super interesting there, gas fees. That's one of the like most negative parts about the NFT space at the moment. And the reason for that is the NFT space at the moment runs on the Ethereum network. Ethereum's cryptocurrency, it's the second largest one. Um, and most NFTs run on Ethereum, on their blockchain, on their algorithms. It's a little complicated to talk about, but like they run on Ethereum basically. And because they run on Ethereum, they have to follow the Ethereum like guidelines. And so when I try and buy an NFT using Ethereum, which is what I'd have to do if I wanted to, whatever, there's a gas fee. And gas fees are essentially like a tax that comes out of your pocket just to I think it's to pay the servers. What is it for exactly?
Yeah, it's to pay like the service fees and like the like gas or like whatever it takes to create that NFT, you have
Yeah.
to pay for it to like be burned into the world and
Yes,
everything.
exactly. And those gas fees can go up to like 25% of your total cost. So if I'm spending, $1,000 on an NFT, that can be up to like 250, maybe even more at certain times, sometimes less, in just gas fees. And so a lot of people are like trying to get away from Ethereum NFTs just because of those gas fees. So when I bought for my family, I bought some NFTs for Christmas last year. I bought a dainty dolphin, which I liked a lot, and two, what are they called? I forget the name.
Dolphin.
It was dainty dolphin 40 hashtag 45. And then I bought two penguins, something.
Oh yeah, your penguins. Yeah.
Yeah. And I bought them for my family. It was great. But a big part of that purchase was actually in the gas fees. I think I spent, because it's Christmas time and a lot of people were doing that, I think I spent like 40% of what I was buying on the gas fees, which is another big proponent against Ethereum. It's bad for the environment and it has those massive gas fees.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think like maybe on the next episode we can get into like alternate platforms like Solana and like stuff like that, what people use, Cardano, like what people use to get around that. But if we kind of like wrap it up, if we want to discuss like a main negative of NFTs, it is like its environmental impact. And before like Jake kind of discusses that, like everything is bad for the environment. Like I just want to throw that out there. Like a lot of people who say that still do things that are bad for the environment. That being said, it doesn't mean NFTs like should get the pass on the environment. Like it is bad for the environment. Jake, do you kind of want to discuss like how NFTs affect the environment?
Yeah, definitely. So it's like how one Bitcoin transaction can power a home for 72 days. They don't run on Bitcoin, they run on Ethereum. And one Ethereum transaction can run a home for I think 17 days. So it's still very environmentally negative. And yes, a lot of things are bad for the environment, but there are alternatives. And that's why people are angry with Ethereum, with Bitcoin. If you look at a crypto like Cardano, for example, or Chia or XRP, cryptocurrencies like that run on, I think I forget the wattage. It's like
It's
47,000 or so times less 47 times less environmentally friendly. If I forget the exact numbers, I just know that was the conversion rate.
It's way less. It's way better for the environment.
Way better for the environment for one transaction. And the reason why that's, a big deal is why don't people then use Cardano or Chia or XRP or some other cryptocurrency to buy their NFTs? And as of the current, they're trying to, but there's so much popularity with Ethereum NFTs that are so bad for the environment that transition isn't exactly happening. So yeah, I feel like that's negative environmentally.
And like Bored Ape Yacht Clubs is on Ethereum, so like you can't buy the official Bored Ape Yacht Club on a different, more economic or environmental conscious place like Cardano. There's like spin-offs and stuff, but it's not the real one. So that's like another interesting conversation. But I think we're kind of all out on everything we wanted to hit here. No, we are not. We have one last gem. I got so into the NFTs.
Yeah,
Sorry.
me too. That was
But
great.
I completely forgot. But we definitely have to do this again, just all on NFTs. But the last piece of very, very newsworthy, just kind of everyone's invested in, is the Elon Musk Twitter deal. Jake, do you kind of want to break that down for someone who's like never heard of it?
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know Twitter as, one of the biggest social medias in the world. It's a huge,
Yes.
platform that is in the digital world that everyone can use. Everyone's given a
Massive.
microphone. Huge deal. You guys know what Twitter is. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. So Elon Musk, one of the richest person in the world, I believe. He put a 9% stake in Twitter. He bought 9% of Twitter. And then a few days later, his total amount in Twitter amassed up to like 15%. And people are like, is he trying to take over Twitter? Is this a hostile takeover? Whatever. And initially he said it wasn't. But then a few days later, he put in a bid to buy Twitter for $54.2 a share. And because, there are a ton of shares, that total amount, he would be buying Twitter for $44 billion. Like exactly, which is like insurmountable amount of money. That's more money than like some countries have. Like it's insane. $44 billion. Wow. So he puts in the bid and Twitter, initially was like, no, we don't want this. But then they basically agreed to all of his terms. And, acquisitions like this, they actually take a very long time to occur because usually the buyer wants to like make sure everything's as it said it is and like wants to do a thorough like background check of what they're buying. And I think this was probably 2 months ago when we first heard the rumors of this and that it was happening. Mm-hmm. And a few days ago, Elon Musk actually said, no, I don't want to buy this anymore. And the reason, he gave a few reasons. He said that Twitter was breaking some contractual like obligations, whatever those were. And they essentially weren't doing what normally happens when an acquisition occurs, which is they fire a few top execs. There's a hiring freeze. I wrote it down. Sorry. No laying off employees. And one of the that's what normally happens during an acquisition. But what Elon Musk said is that they were undercutting the number of bot users that they had. This is a big deal because say they have like 200 million users, but 50 million of them are bots. That's what they say. But it turns out like 100 million are bots. That's a big difference that apparently he didn't know of. So he said they were breaking that. They weren't telling him the full truth. And now he wants to step out of the deal. Twitter responds to this saying, we're going to see you in Delaware court. You're going to have to buy it, whatever. We'll see what actually happens. That's kind of the rumors. But from a political perspective, a bunch of different people have different perspectives here. The left is fretting this deal in general. I'd say most people on the left are, just because in Elon Musk's free speech initiatives, they would like enable more harassment, enable more fake campaigning, a lot of different things.
And Donald Trump would return to Twitter.
And then the right has been very happy because Donald Trump will return to Twitter. A lot of other people would return to Twitter and there'd be more free speech, whatever. So there's a bunch of different, news about this and a bunch of different opinions. That's currently what we're getting. Those are the current rumors. What actually happens, we'll see. But as of now, Elon is like, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. And Twitter's like, nope, you owe us 44 billion. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think okay, it depends on who you want to believe, but I think we'd be lying if like another aspect isn't Elon Musk is insanely rich. Like he has a bunch of money, but he also lost a bunch of money recently because Tesla stock has gone down massively. He being the wealthiest man in the world, is going to take hits when the economy dive bombs. So, I mean, it's hard to put a number on, but I want to say like sources have put it at like 50 billion, like 70 billion. Like he's
I
lost
think it's 70 or 80.
yeah, 70 billion. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's lost a lot of money. So, I mean, he can talk about whatever he wants, but and those claims could be valid. It's tough for us to decipher,
Yeah.
which is why they're going to court. And then, but he's also lost a bunch of money, so it's reasonable to think that might have factored into his decision.
Definitely.
I also wanted to ask: is there like a back out fee he has to pay? Like if he backs out, isn't there a famous fee he has to pay? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great point there. By backing out, if he wanted to, he would have to pay a $1 billion, like $1 billion back out fee. It's a huge sum of money as well, which he has not paid yet either. If he's like for real backing out right now, he's just talking. But yeah, that's a big deal as well.
I don't care how much money you have, $1 billion, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. So, and obviously he's had a decent amount of bad press as well, without getting into too much. Some allegations about his personal life. And then, I mean, it's not helping his own company stock, right? If you're in the news for all these bad reasons, Tesla stock is going to go down. So a lot of interesting stuff that will impact the Twitter deal, or a lot of interesting stuff will come out of the result in this massive Twitter deal. I think Jake did a great job of like making sure we talked about it, because it will affect like Tesla and Elon Musk and Twitter are three of like the most influential things in the market.
The US political climate, like
for sure.
Carnage there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. I have one more question. If you did buy, say you were Elon Musk, you bought Twitter, would you add, your big thing is like bringing free speech back to Twitter, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he said, I think he said he would add Trump back, but like, if you were him, would you add Trump back?
That's a crazy question. That's good. I think if I was Elon, I would. And this is following a statement he made recently. He said, I'm no longer going to be voting with the left because the left is full of creating division in our country. This is what he said in a Twitter quote. And I'll be voting independent or right from now on. And so based on that quote and him like on his free speech initiatives, I definitely think he actually will bring Donald Trump back if he buys it. I think he knows that he'll be creating, I guess, more division. There'll be a lot of like arguments if he brings Donald Trump back, which will create more division. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it's just,
What do you think?
At the very least, I was going to say it's like very interesting. I mean, we can't vote, so or we will soon, honestly.
We'll be able to vote.
We will be able to vote soon. It's naive to think like both parties don't cause division everywhere. That's just kind of how it is. But there's fair statements in everything. Like, we do value free speech, but it's tough when free speech hurts other people. But who knows? It's a tough argument.
It really is.
But I've had an absolute blast talking about crypto, NFTs, Twitter. Jake, any final words on anything we've discussed today?
Just thank you, man. I really like this. It's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to keep talking. I'd love to do an NFT episode. That'd be interesting.
No, I think if you're subscribed to the channel, look out for an NFT episode very shortly. I had a blast, like I have whenever I have a guest on, but I love talking about NFTs with my boy Jake. So I had a great time, honestly. Thank you everyone for listening. Please subscribe, like, comment, whatever you want. I just have a lot of fun doing these videos. Hope we're able to bring you some information. Look out for another NFT video with my man Jake, Formula One videos, whole city videos, all kinds of fun content. And then, thank you. Hopefully you subscribe. And Jake, thank you for everything. He described a lot of things I know nothing about, and I just tried to weigh in on, had some helpful tidbits. But thank you, man. It's been a blast, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Yes, sir. See you guys. Thank you guys so much.